Hi everyone, my name is Bee and I'm a student at National University. I'm also a substitute teacher about to get my full-time teaching credential. And today I'm going to talk about models of instructional responsibility. So as education specialists, our work sits at the intersection of four core models of instructional responsibility: the legal model, medical, pedagogical, and philosophical model. They work differently and they all shape how we view our students, and they all affect how we design our classrooms. So the legal and medical models define the framework. The article called Three Important Laws That Support Individuals with Disabilities by the National Education Association, or NEA, explains that the legal model is rooted in laws like IDEA and Section 504, which guarantees access, civil rights, and accountability for students with disabilities. Bethel University's Social and Behavioral Sciences Department explains that the medical model diagnoses specific impairments to secure accommodations for students with disabilities. Now, historically, the medical model has treated disabilities as a deficit that needed to be fixed in order to assimilate disabled people into the rest of society. But as educators, it is our legal duty to ensure equity and that everyone has a right to fair and appropriate public education or FAPE, that disabilities are not something that needs to be fixed, but rather we need to fix the environment in order to remove barriers for folks with disabilities. So now let's look at how the pedagogical and philosophical models transform that medical and legal compliance into meaningful learning. Augusta University's article, What is Pedagogy in Education, explains that pedagogy is how we teach. It is translating accommodations into constructivist or student-centered instruction. It is translating accommodations into constructivist, student-centered instruction created to remove barriers to learning. So this looks at what counts as meaningful learning and how school district resources are allocated in order to meet the needs of all our learners. Jennifer Hansen's article on specialeducationjourney.com shares that our underlying educational philosophy, whether it's progressivism or social reconstructivism, it defines why we teach and drives us to embrace neurodiversity and advocate for equity. Kathleen Jasper dives deeper into education philosophy in her YouTube video by talking about how progressivism is essentially having students learn by doing, and reconstructivism is about showing students how to find factual information and then letting them decide for themselves how to think about and form opinions based on those facts. She also discusses the classic teaching models of perennialism and essentialism. Perennialism theory says that because this is the way that we've always done it, these are the classic skills and the classic ways that we have taught students, this is an essential part of teaching students how to develop as a human being. And essentialism is basically drill and practice. Kathleen Jasper notes that there is still a place in education for the models of perennialism and essentialism. She suggests using them to memorize math facts and essential vocabulary words. And just on a personal note, I have noticed that perennialism, or teaching the traditional way, the way that has always been done, and essentialism, drill and practice, has not been helpful for me as a student. At least when used as an exclusive way of teaching. For me as a teacher, I find it best to use the legal model to make sure that everyone's rights are respected, to use the medical model to make sure that we have all the data that we need in order to best serve our learners, and using the pedagogical model to make sure that instruction is accessible and make creative new ways of learning. And The philosophical model for me really focuses on people's humanity and learning in a way that works for everyone and for our community as a whole, and is much more centered on bringing together family life and school life so that school feels like a home away from home rather than a testing environment. So, in sum, I think it's important to fuse aspects of all of these teaching styles to ensure that we are not just serving specific disabilities, but that we are educating the whole child and looking at every aspect of their individuality. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments and responses. Thank you.